Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you doing? And welcome to another episode of Chatterbox, guys. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're all doing fine. Thank you for joining me on this lovely, peaceful Sunday afternoon, guys. You absolute beautiful people. Guys, before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video if you guys can do that. We're very close to 12,000 subscribers, guys. We've got to get up there. We've got to come on. Let's push it. Let's push it. Push it real good. That's what we need to do, guys. Come on. Now, guys, look, we're going to get into it in regards to Manchester United. Obviously, there is a boost in regards to a sale that Man United could possibly do. And the player is interested. Can you believe it? Would you believe it, Simon? We've also got a player. We've been linked with a goalkeeper, which I feel like is absolutely unrealistic. But anyway, I'm going to speak about that, guys, very soon. Of course, the old Sesko debate, guys. Right, like, where do we start with Manchester United, guys? Where do we start? Firstly, I'm going to start with Sesko. Benjamin Sesko. Newcastle United have apparently stolen a march on Manchester United in regards to Benjamin Sesko, and Manchester United face a battle on their hands if they are to acquire the 22-year-old Serbian international, guys. Now, of course, Sesko has divided opinion over the Manchester United fan base over this last few weeks and indeed months. It may be a year. We've been talking about him for a very long time. So in regards to Sesko, Newcastle United are very interested in Sesko, but it does depend on whether Isak leaves Newcastle United. Of course, Isak is eager to leave Newcastle United and could be joining Liverpool in a multi-million dollar, pound, euros deal, guys, at the end of the day. And look, what would I make of that? That would be a great signing for Liverpool. But then again, I'm thinking about what's going on FFP and PSR right there. Are they just ignoring it and brushing it under the carpet? I want to know your thoughts on that as well. But, you know, what I would say is that Benjamin Sesko, Newcastle United, it does pose a serious threat because Newcastle United, of course, are in the Champions League now. And Man United are not. Man United have been severely infected. If Man United qualify for the Champions League, we may not would have to endure this from the Arsenal fans. If Man United saved humanity and qualified for the Champions League rather than Tottenham qualifying for the Champions League and Tottenham doing an absolute mess in the transfer market, we wouldn't have had to witness that. I am scarred for life, guys, in regards to that Arsenal promotional video in regards to Gyökeres. I am absolutely scarred for life, guys. I should have been insured on this social media platform. I really should have, guys. Absolutely, guys. How would you say it? My Twitter has been causing an uproar, of course, obviously, with people who've been looking at my page, the likes of Jay-Z, the likes of Rio Ferdinand, Alex Ferguson, David Beckham, and stuff like that, have been spying on old Sal, guys, absolutely. And even Sean Puff Diddy Combs, or Diddy Puff, whatever his name is, has been spying on my channel, of course, but that is just the nature of the beast, as they say, guys. But let's get straight into it, of course, with Sesko. Now, obviously, Sesko does divide opinion, even on here. But we're getting into a period now in regards to Manchester United where whatever will be, will be. We're going to Wembley. Whatever will be, will be. Whatever striker we sign, we're just going to be happy now because we're tired, guys. We're tired. You know, they've drained the life out of us this window. They have actually completely, squeezed us to death. Absolutely, definitely, guys. And you know what? Sesko was not my first choice. He's not my second choice, not my third choice, not my fourth choice. But right now, what we're going to say now, I'll do what you want. Just tell me what you need. And that's what basically is at the moment with Manchester United, because we do need a striker. Of course, we need a striker, guys. Man United need a striker. We don't score goals, guys. We don't score goals. We need a striker. Even Queen's Park Rangers are buying strikers. We're not buying strikers, guys. Absolutely. John O'Connor, big up yourself. Yes, set for Sesko. Big up yourself. Tyber, good afternoon, my friend. How you doing? I'm not a huge fan of Sesko, but in this moment, I'll welcome with open arms. We desperately need a striker. Absolutely, Tyber. And when you look at what Liverpool are doing in this transfer market, it is a little bit worrying because we cannot let Liverpool pull further away from us. Guys, this is the question. Here begs the question, right? If Man United signed Mbeumo and Cunha, which we have, let's give this scenario. If we signed Mbeumo and Cunha and no other team in the Premier League signed players, right? Would we catch up with Liverpool? Would we catch up with City and Arsenal? Would we do that? Its answer is no, isn't it? So when you think about Cunha and Mbeumo, yes, the improved Man United probably get us above Brighton, probably get us above Everton and teams like that. But when you think about Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, Newcastle, these teams, Arsenal, we're not going to get ahead of them like this. You know, we're not going to get ahead of them. We're too slow in this transfer market. They are getting further and further away from us. It's like this. We're going up, but they're going out like this. And the gap is getting bigger and bigger. And Man United obviously need to sort that out. Now, in regards to Antony, though, what could sort it out is Man United offloading some players, selling some players, in other words. Man United could quite possibly sell Antony to the football club Al Nassr. Of course, Al Nassr is famous for Cristiano Ronaldo. And they do have a bit of money, a bit of skrilla in the bank to pay for Antony. Now, Antony has apparently said that he would like to join Al Nassr. There's a turn up for the books. He would like to go to Saudi Arabia. Look, we are that bad. No one wants to play for us at the moment. There's players there that just don't want to play for us at the end of the day. We're caught in between a hard place and a stone at the end of the day. And with Antony going to Saudi Arabia, it would help Manchester United's transfer fund significantly, with the amount being around 50 million euros, guys, when you think about it. My goodness me. Now, look, you think about the players that are leaving Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, obviously, when you think about it, what Chelsea are doing, selling players for fun, at the end of the day, and they're selling players. Another player's gone for 44 million today. And here we go for 44 million, of course, guys. So at the end of the day, what will I say about it is that we're very poor, we're very incompetent, we're very slow at doing deals. And with Antony leaving to go to Saudi Arabia, Al Nassr to be exact, it will be a very good move for Manchester United, and it will help us sign a striker, whatever striker it will be, unless it is obviously a player that is not as good as Rasmus Højlund, who is probably Calvert-Lewin and teams like that, players like that, who I would much rather have, Rasmus Højlund up front than him, of course, guys. Good afternoon, Ephraim. How you doing, my friend? What are you doing? Oh, good afternoon, sir. If you choose to choose the number 10 position, who you brew, Bruno Cunha and Bruno. I would Mbeumo and Cunha all day long, mate. I mean, I'm not one of those people who are very forgiving. I absolutely not. I know there are a lot of people that forgive very easily. I'm not forgiving for what happened last season. I'm not. And no matter what people think of me and what they say about me, I think we should have sold Bruno, because at the end of the day, I like the player, I like the person, but at the end of the day, it's just got to a point where, mate, you were the captain of the ship that came 15th last season. You were the captain of the ship. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that sent us all the way down. Do you know what I mean? And we were pound for pound the worst team in Europe, if not the world. Because when you think about it, we have more money, we have more infrastructure, more fans than Ipswich Town and Southampton and teams like that. So pound for pound, we were the worst team last year. And whoever's the captain of that ship, do you know what I mean? There you go. They have a big part to blame in that. So what I would say, it will be Mbeumo and Cunha. I don't believe that if any player in that football team, especially the players that have been playing for the last few years, that are flattered to deceive, should be guaranteed a spot in the Manchester United side. I don't believe that. Even Bruno. I don't think they should be. I think Man United should be working towards building a new team for the future. Yes, you can keep these players, but yeah, they shouldn't be guaranteed spots in the team. Now, obviously, this has left us in a bit of a conundrum, where we were speaking about it earlier on, about Bruno playing the number 8 to accommodate Mbeumo and Cunha. What do I make of that? What I think of that is that Bruno can't play a number 8. He's not good in the number 8, and it disrupts the balance of the side. That's what I've been saying. What was great about yesterday's game in the friendly is that Mainu and Ugarte were fabulous. It looked like a balance. Finally, we got a little bit of balance, and that's what my biggest concern was yesterday, guys. And I was thinking about that, and I watched the game this morning, and basically thinking to myself, you know what, Ruben Amorim's going to pick him as number 8, and it's been screaming out for Man United to have a proper number 8 and a proper number 6, and I don't think we're going to have that, unfortunately. And I think that Bruno will be moved into that position. Hopefully, with the inclusion of Mbeumo and Cunha, we will be better. And, there won't be as much work on Bruno, where he's liable to go out of position and be ill-disciplined in his position and stuff like that. If we bring in a Sesko, however, with the striker, that would be fantastic. The only other way Man United can work around this is if they put Bruno as a number 9, or boost Sesko, or move Cunha as the false number 9, and have those three up front, and Mbeumo, Cunha, and obviously Bruno. So what I would say is that isn't ideal, because, again, you're shoehorning players into certain positions, which I didn't want to do. But you know what? It is what it is. Ruben Amorim, and I can guarantee this, I will bet my mortgage on it, that Ruben Amorim will start Bruno as a number 8 in the first game of the season against Arsenal. It will happen, guys. I'm pretty sure about that. And then Mbeumo and Cunha will play the number 10s, and hopefully we'll have a striker up there who can actually be competent enough to put the ball in the back of the net, which would be nice to have strikers that do that, of course, guys. Ephraim, I think Sesko will be okay behind Mbeumo and Cunha. Behind or in front, mate? In front of them. Sal, what do we have to do to stop the midfield gap? Man United have to have balance, Ephraim. The Man United at the moment are trying to shoehorn players into certain positions because they are fan favourites or they're the favourite with the manager. Now, look, you know what I mean? I spoke about this earlier. Guys, I would urge you, I point you in the direction of my short video just yesterday when I was talking about this, about balance. I'm going to upload it. Sorry, I haven't uploaded it yet. About balance of the side and how important it is to have balance of the side. I speak about how important it is in regards to, I'll give you an example, England. So when England had the golden generation of Gerrard, Scholes and Lampard, they tried to fit them all into the same team, right? What England were crying out for at that time was actually a Michael Carrick, someone who could tidy up, someone who can get the ball forward and stuff like that. It was actually someone of that ilk, you know, but we wanted to fit all the players into the team and it just disrupted the balance of the team, of course, and England weren't successful as much as they should have been. Now, when I think about this and I think about Man United, what Man United need to do, they need to stop thinking about how to shoehorn a player who you know what, who's a fan favourite or a manager favourite into the side just to play them. You know what I mean? And that is the problem that we're having. Mainu, Ugarte should be playing, in my opinion. They're brilliant. They were brilliant yesterday. Gave me lots of good signs, got some good energy. And I feel like that should be the midfield partner. Unless Man United go out and sign a Wards and a Baleba or something like that, which is a godsend, by the way. We do need a player like that. But, you know, if we don't, I don't think Man United should be trying to shoehorn players into certain positions that are proven not to work, guys. And that is the problem that we're having going forward, of course. Ephraim, so if we have the money to spend Sesko, why do we not go after Wisa? Because Brentford won't sell Wisa and Mbuma, mate. They won't lose both of them and it will be overpriced. Big up, Gurang. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Gurang, is Antony going to Al Nassr? Then I would prefer Baleba over a striker. Look, at the end of the day, I don't prefer anyone over anyone, Kenny. Because at the end of the day, Man United's problem is putting the ball in the back of the net. The overriding problem of Man United is putting the ball in the back of the net. This Baleba thing is getting a little bit out of hand. He's playing for Brighton and Hove Albion. Let's calm our tits a little bit, all right? So let's think about this, right? Look, at the end of the day, look, we have Mainu and Ugarte. They're brilliant players. We're getting this new flavour of the month is Baleba, when no one knew who he was a year ago. Flavour of the month, okay? So Baleba is a good player. Great. But I would prefer a striker all day long. Man United need to put that ball in the back of the net. That's what they need to do at the end of the day. So I would prefer striker all day long, goalkeeper as well, and then we can work on that midfield. Mainu and Ugarte can do a job. I'm very confident in that. I'm a big fan of Ugarte and I'm a big fan of Mainu. We shouldn't turn our back on these players because of one bad season, obviously, which was a complete mess at the end of the day, guys. Any updates on Sancho? Sancho, Juve is the biggest thing that could possibly happen at the moment. It's a little bit slow because Juventus are waiting to sell a few players. As I spoke about in Bunuga, isn't it? Players of that ilk and obviously Timo Weah as well. They're looking to sell. So they're looking to bring in money into the team before they can purchase Jadon Sancho. Also, Manchester United are looking at working out a severance deal with Jadon Sancho as well. So that is something that could take a little bit of time because obviously Jadon Sancho is going to want his amount of money. He's going to want the peas and the Skrilla, of course, guys. Big up everyone. Hi, John O'Connor. Big up, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Sal. Big up yourself. Good to see you. Absolutely good to see you, Jim. Good to see you here, of course. Hi, everyone. Good to see Bobby. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Good to see John O'Connor as well. Bless you, my friend. Big up, everyone, of course, guys. Sal, who would you take Sesko back? I've spoken about this a lot of times, John. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's a bit of a catch-22, a kind of, you know, they both got their pros and cons. The pros for Sesko are basically he's young, he's got a higher ceiling, you know, and he could be at Man United, be in Man United's team for a number of years. The cons, you know, he's not proven in the Premier League. Basically, he's not proven in the Premier League, and he's expensive as well. With Ollie Watkins proven in the Premier League, that's his pros. Cons, he's old, he's 29, he's going to cost 50-60 million, and you know what? Why didn't he perform last season, you know, as well as he could have done? And those are the pros and cons. There are so many to go. But what I would say, John O'Connor, and it's just like I'm on the vibes of Tyberg right there. Right now, I'm like, whatever. Just bloody bring in a striker who can score some goals for Man United because that's what we need at the end of the day. Big up, Danny B. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Absolutely. Big up, as usual, Stephen. Hope you're doing well, of course. Absolutely. Big up, everyone. Big up, APN. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Why is Sancho transfer move so slow? Because obviously Juventus are waiting to sell some players, APN, and that's taking a little bit of time for them because they have to offload more than one. There is Gonzalez. I think there is Ibanuga, and there's also Timo Weah that are going to be leaving Juventus. So obviously they're trying to get the money in to fund the Sancho transfer. And of course, the Man United severance deal with Sancho is obviously going to be a problem as well. Cornish, good afternoon. How are you doing? Good to see you. Just pay 60 plus add-ons on to get Sesko. We've already got the money. Cornish, we got more than that. We got a lot of money, Man United, apparently. And, Man United just don't want to spend money, unfortunately. Just get the deal done. We're wasting time. We're going to end up spending the money anyway. So I don't understand why we're taking so long at the end of the day. My biggest concern about Ineos is basically that we got the Mbumo deal through the door, and we should have used this as a little bit of momentum. Do you know what I mean? To carry on and go on and try and actually, get the striker in, get the goalkeeper in. I mean, kill two birds with one stone, work, use the momentum to your advantage. But we didn't do that. Unfortunately, it's gone stale again. Can you believe it's been over a week since we signed Mbumo? It's been, nearly 2 weeks since we've signed Mbumo. Can you believe that? It's absolutely. I would take Bruno as Tesco. Big up, John O'Connor. I would slightly go towards Sesko, John O'Connor. If you were put in front of me, if I was to say which striker do you want, I would say Sesko. But if someone said to me, which striker do you think would score more goals, Sesko or Ollie Watkins? I would say in the short term, Ollie Watkins will score more goals. In the long term, Sesko will score more goals. In regards to how long he's going to be at Man United, and he will end up being a world-class striker. Some think he's world-class already, of course. Sesko prefers Man United over Newcastle. I hope so, Melissa, but you snooze, you lose in this game, isn't it, at the end of the day? Absolutely. Tyborg, watching St Mirren versus Air United right now. This is how desperate I am about football. Oh, my goodness me. It is desperate, Tyborg. My goodness me. St Mirren versus Air United. Is that a friendly, Tyborg? Was that as the Scottish League started already? I know that the Scottish League starts about like a week before, obviously, England. But, that is awful. That is awful. I'd rather go watch some football in the park or something like that. Big up, my friend. Silverback Gamer Beast. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Afternoon. I hope you're blessed. Good to see you. Absolutely. Big up Silverback. Of course. Good to see you back. Of course, guys. Absolutely. LT, big up yourself. How you doing, fella? I hope you're doing well. I prefer Watkins to deliver immediately, and he still has the couple of years in the top level, giving us a better chance of future when we can afford a top striker because we'll be playing in Europe. One thing is the biggest concern about me, about everything, LT, about all this transfer rumors is that is there any strikers out there now like there used to be, LT? You remember when they're in the 90s when there were loads of strikers out there who could put the ball in the back of the net? Every single team basically had a decent striker in their mix. I can go through loads of strikers during the 90s who played for various clubs up and down the league who can put the ball in the back of the net better than most strikers can do today. My biggest concern is that there are not many strikers available. They're not. 20, 30 years ago, your Keras would be an average baller. He would be an average striker. It would be a good, like for example, it would be a normal striker that usually, most teams have got. That is what it would be. That is how bad strikers are these days. That is how talent has regressed, in my opinion. It's regressed so much, of course. Good afternoon, Grayo. How you doing, you legend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Thank you so much, Grayo, absolute diamond of a geezer. Subscribe buttons and show your appreciation of Sal. It's a brilliant channel. Thank you so much, Grayo. You brilliant person. Thank you so much, my friend. I hope you're blessed, my guy, of course. Can we buy? Yes, of course, David. We can buy Sesko. Don't believe all this. We ain't got no money business. This is an absolute myth, an absolute lie. We ain't got no money. They've got money, guys. I've said it millions of times and I've explained why we got money. And you know what? These guys are just going to carry on spinning that. We got no money train because at the end of the day, what does that do? That lowers expectations so that the fans don't have any expectations on what Man United are. Man United need a striker. Going into the season without a new striker would be absolute insanity in my humblest of humbles of opinions, guys. So hopefully Man United do sign a striker, of course. And done and dusted. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Among the many problems at your club, our Gaff rates Bruno too much. Bruno should have been sold. He's now going to play the number 8. Done and dusted. Look, you know what? We went through this earlier on today, and, I have my feelings on it, done and dusted. And regardless how good Bruno is, and look, I don't deal with absolutes in football. I really don't. And I don't think that necessarily Man United would have got relegated if Bruno didn't play last season. That's a very simplistic view to have on football. It is very simplistic because at the end of the day, sometimes when a player's been removed, it contributes better to the team. Everyone thought that when Mbappe left PSG were going to be a worse team. Look at PSG, spending 2 decades almost trying to win the Champions League, and they won the Champions League without Mbappe in this first season, of course. So look, I don't believe that, you know what, having Bruno in the team is actually like a life or death sentence. You know what I mean? I don't. I think that selling Bruno and building a team would have been good for Manchester United. Ideally, we would have loved to keep him and have the money to build the team as well and keep him there. But unfortunately, Man United apparently don't have money, and this is the excuse that they're using. But as I said then, the fact that they rejected 100 million, and obviously Bruno didn't want to go as well, but the fact that he would have left, Bruno said he would have left if Man United said they needed the money. Bruno, we need you to go. So what I would say is that Man United rejected 100 million. I don't want to hear any bad thing about money. I don't want to hear nothing about money again with Man United. I don't want to hear that they got no money, because I know that's bullcrap at the end of the day. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a bit like me saying, you know what I mean? I'm going into a food shop or a restaurant and saying, oh, I've got no money. I've got no money. I mean, I can't buy that burger because that burger's like £5. Then I'm going next door into Gucci or Prada and buying myself a nice, lovely jacket, waistcoat, whatever, blazer. Do you know what I mean? That's basically what it is at the end of the day with Manchester United. And, you know, I don't trust them as long as I can throw. I don't trust them. Absolutely not. Danny B, rather us scout our own Belabor and Water for 20, 30 million than pay 8 million pounds on me. And Danny B, this is exactly what I'm saying. I've been saying it, banging the drum like a boring old sod I have been. And I've been saying this, right? I've been saying Man United need to cut out the middleman. They need to stop going in between the player where he originates from and signing him from the team that signed him for cheap. And then we end up signing him for quadruple the price that he's worth. Just like Richard Rios, I guarantee you guys, and you can click this right now, Richard Rios will be a 70 million target for whatever club, maybe in a year or 2 years' time, guys. Absolutely. We need to do scouting. We've done a little bit of scouting. Look at Aiden Heaven now. No one knew about Aiden Heaven, did they? They never knew how good Aiden Heaven was. Now people are talking about Aiden Heaven potentially being a world-class player, generational, blah, blah, blah. No one knew about him, did they, a year ago? Now look. You know, this is the thing. You've got to look for players. You've got to find players and cut out the middleman. You're spot on, Danny B. Why are Man United struggling to do this? And we haven't only struggled to do this year. We struggled to do it over a number of years, Danny. Do you know what I mean? And this is the problem. We get the players in when it's too late. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, and you know, and other teams do it as well. Benfica are very good at bringing players in early. Obviously, Ajax are very good at bringing players early. Porto, Sporting Lisbon, and all these teams are very good at bringing players from South America. Now we've lost out on Wesley, of course, who's gone to Roma, and we were talking, Danny B, about Wesley a long time ago. Now watch Wesley bloody smash it in at Roma, and then everyone's going to be saying, "Oh, we should have signed Wesley." You know what I mean? Up looking at Van der Sar. Man United should go after a player like Van der Sar. It's not going to happen, is it? And we're going to end up regretting it in a few years' time, of course. Big up everyone, of course, in the chat. Much love, everyone, of course. So, are we in the men's, do you think? I would love the men's, Jim. He's my first choice. Now, I'm going to get into the goalkeeper. There was circulation, rumours spreading around Donnarumma coming to Manchester United. Manchester United bidding for Donnarumma, considering that Galatasaray are interested in bringing Donnarumma to Turkey. Okay, now, what I would say is this, right? My point was earlier on today is that if Galatasaray could go in for a player like Donnarumma, why can't Man United go after a player like Donnarumma when Galatasaray have almost signed Osimhen, of course, guys? So what I would say is that if Galatasaray can go after a player like Donnarumma, why can't Man United go after a player like Donnarumma? And lo and behold, we have been linked with Donnarumma. How likely is it to happen? 10%, not going to happen. The reason it's not going to happen, we're not in the Champions League. He's going to want astronomical wages. I just can't see that happening. Even though it would help Man United significantly having one of the best, if not the best goalkeeper right now. I just don't think Man United are going to do that deal. In regards, however, to Seny Lamens, I do believe that Man United could bring in Seny Lamens because obviously Seny Lamens is only going to be about 20, 25 million euros. So that is a good thing. The problem is Onana. Now, Onana wants to stay at Man United and he's dig these feet deeply into the ground that he wants to stay at Man United and he doesn't want to leave. That is the biggest problem Man United are having. So the best deal for them to do, Man United, is basically bringing in Seny Lamens, put him on the bench and slowly drift out Onana. Slowly. That's what I would do. slowly drift out and solidify Lamens as the first choice goalkeeper. Now, just because selling Lamens is not a Donnarumma, just because he's not a Courtois, doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability to do that. We all remember when Petr Cech signed for Chelsea, of course, and you know what? It was a relatively unknown quantity coming from Sparta Prague, and he ended up being one of the best goalkeepers in the world. As we've been speaking here, you know, scouting, finding that goalkeeper. Everyone knows that Cedric Lamens is an extremely talented goalkeeper. I first mentioned Cedric Lamens over 6 months ago on this channel, of course, before it became popular. And you know what? I really rate the player, and I hope that the player does come to Manchester United, because I do believe Man United need a goalkeeper, and I do think it's very important, highly underrated at the moment. Big up, Jim, my friend. Sesko, big up, Rocky. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Kenny, I would prefer Watkins. We need goals immediately. If Sesko comes in, I hope he can prove me wrong. Kenny, exactly that's what it is. At the moment, we're stuck in a thing where I'll take anyone. Kenny, it's a bit like I take anyone, whatever the striker. As long as I get a striker through the door, I'm happy with that. I don't mind that. That is what it basically is, Kenny, isn't it? You know, because Man United need to score goals. Over the last 2 seasons, we've been doing these watch-alongs, right? And it has been dreadful. It has been dreadful. We can't score. As soon as a team scores against us, you might as well pack up and leave. I might as well say, close the stream. It's over. And that's what the problem is with Man United over the last year or so, that we haven't scored goals. And it's getting, you know, I used to enjoy football. I used to be looking forward to watching Manchester United. I used to be excited to watch Man United. These days, I'm like, oh, for God's sake. You know what I mean? If they score, that's it. You might as well pack up and leave. You know what I mean? And save everyone the time. Absolutely. But hopefully that changes and we bring in a striker. Big up, Kenny. Dabizaz, good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. I can project Sesko leaving Watkins in dust at 25-26. You can project that, Dabizaz. Look, you know what? I wouldn't disagree with you, Dabizaz. As we said on this channel, Sesko has a higher ceiling. Sesko can quite possibly become a world-class player if we sign him. There's a reason that Arsenal wanted Sesko. There is a reason. People do see things in Sesko. Sesko has scored some phenomenal goals, and that shows talent. That shows talent. He does miss some easy chances, but that could be fixed. Andy Cole had a similar problem, and Andy Cole, pound for pound, is the best striker in Premier League history. I would argue that with anyone, by the way. Didn't take penalties, still up there. You know what I mean? So I would say that Andy Cole had that problem before. I think it can be fixed. And I think the fact that he's got the ability to score some of the goals that he's been scoring should hold us in good stead. And it should be, you know what, overriding that the misses that he does. Big up, Paul. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to get Sesko. Absolutely. We got to move quickly, though, guys. We got to move quickly because Newcastle United are stealing a march on Manchester United in regards to Sesko. It does look likely that Isaac will leave Newcastle United. Isaac has not travelled with Newcastle United, you know, in regards to the preseason. So that is a bit of an issue there because that means that more times than not, we know what happens, don't we? When a player wants to leave a football club, they relatively get their move. They get their move. They do leave the football club. When they want to leave the football club, it doesn't make financial sense on and off the pitch to keep him. Absolutely. Dude is a freak. With Antony and Boomer, he's going to turn into a monster. This is the biggest thing, Dabizaz. This is the thing that I want to look at and I want to stress. That we got in Boomer and Cunha. Imagine playing in front of those two players. Imagine playing in front of those two players. It could revolutionize Sesko into this goal-scoring machine. Who knows? Do you know what I mean? I would just love us to start the first game of the season against Arsenal and we got a player like Sesko and he scores a couple of goals. And we beat Arsenal in the first game of the season. And Euro marks out your carers completely out of the game. That would be my dream. That would be what it is at the end of the day. Kerwin, good afternoon. How you doing? All it took is PSG to abandon the Galactico and build a real team together. Squad knows team wins. Absolutely, Kerwin. Team wins. Now, I will bring in this conversation with you in regards to Manchester United throughout the history, especially under Sir Alex Ferguson. I would argue that Man United didn't necessarily have the best players. We never did, guys. Let me tell you that right now. During the Premier League, especially during the 90s, there were many players out there who were far more talented than the players that we had in the team. But we were a team. We were a team. Look, you had Tottenham who probably had David Ginola. David Ginola was probably more talented than any one of our players. He was flipping so talented. You know, you look at players like that. But we had players that worked for the team. That's what we had. Players that are willing to put the work in defensively and attacking. We had that. And that's absolutely spot on, Kerwin, because we need to build a team. To build a team, what do you need? You need balance. You need chemistry. Now, if we're trying to shoehorn players into a team just because they're your favorite or you know what, you're mates with them and stuff like that, that is not building a team. That's sacrificing the team for an individual. And that is the concern that I have going forward with Manchester United. Absolutely. Tyberg, legend of the game, must say, one of the reasons RB Leipzig didn't qualify for Europe is exactly Sesko. He needs 10 chances to score 1 goal. He could still be assessed, but it's a huge risk in my opinion. I agree, Tyberg. It is a huge risk. I agree, mate. I cannot agree more. I mean, at the end of the day, 13 goals and 33 appearances, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? But if we do sign him, Tyberg, and look, let me give you this example, right? Let me throw this one out there. How many goals would Rasmus Højlund score for RB Leipzig? If Rasmus Højlund was playing up front, how many goals would Rasmus Højlund score for RB Leipzig? What do you think? You know what I mean? It's an interesting one because you have to look at that. You have to look at that. How many goals would Garnacho score in the Bundesliga? How many assists would Garnacho have in the Bundesliga? And we have to ask ourselves this question. I'm not going to paint everyone with the same brush because some people can leave and then find a new lease of life at another country and become world class. I know that could possibly happen. It's happened with great players in the past, Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, things like that. It happens. But at the end of the day, I want to know, right? Basically, how would Rasmus fare in the Bundesliga with Leipzig, right? Because you're looking at Sesko, 13 goals in 33 appearances last season, okay? That is not prolific. In my opinion, that's a number 10 numbers. That's a good number 10 numbers, right? As a number 9, is that good enough? Now, I've watched Sesko. He has a lot of good attributes. But the problem is, as Tyberg just said there, which is he needs 10 chances to score 1 goal. Andy Cole had this problem when he first signed for Man United. He needed 10 goals to score 1 goal. But obviously, Andy Cole was already proven to score in the Premier League, score 40 goals or new goals and stuff like that. But he did have that problem. But he did fix that problem, to be honest with you. He's 22, I think. And, he can get better. But at this moment, as you said, Tybo, I just take anyone right now, mate. I'll take anyone right now. I'll be happy with Sesko. Let's go for Sesko. Forget about it. Let's go for Sesko. And that's it. We can hope for the best. But you're absolutely right, Tyberg. Very intelligent comment again from the legend. Is that it does represent a risk. It does represent a risk because at the end of the day, he comes into the England, he doesn't hit the ground running. Man United fans are going to be pressurizing him, just like what happened with Rasmus, as we know. And then obviously with a striker, the confidence just goes lower and lower and lower. And we don't want that at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, theoretically, everything is a risk in life, isn't it? But at the moment, we are in a position where I think I'll just take the bloody risk and just get the player in. And that's how I feel at the moment. It was not my first, second, third, fourth choice. It was not. Obviously, I wanted Osman, I wanted Gyökeres, I wanted Mateta. Mateta, obviously, there's a little bit of an issue with his contract at the moment in regards to Mateta. I feel that Mateta would be absolute game changer. If Man United signed Mateta, that would be an absolute game changer. But as we know, Mateta, Man United, there's no legs on it at the moment. No one's really talking about Mateta at Man United at the moment, which is disappointing because I do believe that this guy, let me tell you guys, Mateta would be the player that will outshine every one of those signings. I'm talking about Osman, I'm talking about Gyökeres, I'm talking about all of them. If Mateta played for Man United in front of Mbeumo and Cunha, I'm telling you right now, Mateta would absolutely smash it. He would smash it. Watch Mateta in the FA Cup final against Man City lead the line like a proper forward, like a world-class forward, man of the match, can head the ball, can shoot, can bring players into play, can pass, skillful, technical, very good player. And if it was me, Mateta I'd be fighting tooth and nail right now for Mateta. That's what I would be doing. Absolutely. Big up, my friend, everyone, of course, Danny B, Tyberg, all the legends in the stream, of course. Yeah, he is more of a bigger risk and bigger rewards. Big up, Dabby says, hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're blessed. Of course, Sal, it's frustrating not to see Mbeumo for the next game. This is incompetent of the yeah. This is basically the reason. This is why we took too long, didn't we, for him to sign Mbeumo? So he's not ready, and obviously we can't risk Mbeumo yet because obviously if he plays and gets in, God forbid, spend 50 days signing Mbeumo and then you know what, he gets injured. So God forbid, touch wood. Let me touch the Alex Ferguson book. I touch the Alex Ferguson book so we don't get any injuries and stuff like that, guys. Absolutely not, guys. Absolutely. But if I do, there you go. There's the Alex Ferguson book. It's a real book, guys. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Yeah. So there we go. If I ever reach, look, maybe I should do a giveaway again. Maybe I should do. I mean, obviously, Grayo, the legend, won the picture of me, of course. Not of me, but the cartoon that I drew. So I might do another one, you know what I mean, if I reach 20,000 subscribers, guys. So that is the new milestone, of course, guys, absolutely. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, it is incompetent from the owners. It did take a long time, but we can't rush him back. Apparently, and Mbeumo will be ready for the 4th of August game, the friendly on the 4th of August, which will be live on Stretford Post. I'll be doing a watch-along for that game, so hopefully we'll be having a good time in Mbeumo time. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody say, ayo. Yeah, say, let's go. LT, I was glad to see the team pressing as a team and looking more cohesive, especially in the centre midfield where it was concerned against Leeds. But with Mbeumo to play Everton, how will it work with Bruno deeper? Exactly, LT. Here's the conundrum. And this is why Ruben Amorim gets paid the big bucks. This is why, because he has to resolve this. He wanted Bruno. They want Bruno. They love Bruno. They're going to have to make Bruno work. This is what it is. We spoke earlier about it. I spoke to Helge earlier on about it. Look, at the end of the day, I get what he's saying. I get everything. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Bruno's going to play regardless. So we have to find a way to make it work, right? But what I would say, if it gets to the opening few games of the season and it's not working, we cannot keep forcing it. We can't keep forcing it. We're going to have to face the music and dance. We're going to have to face the music with this one, with Bruno. If it doesn't work at number 8, we're going to have to rotate Bruno in that number 10. Or what we're going to have to do, which I don't want to do, by the way, is move Cunha into the number 9 position or false number 9 and bring Bruno as number 10. That's what I don't want to do because I don't believe in doing that. I don't think it works, especially in the Premier League. And Arsenal will tell you that right now. So what I would say is that I hope that it works. I hope that the number 8 position works for him. Ideally, I would like Bruno number 10. But if we're bringing in Mbeumo now and Cunha, we're not going to play Mbeumo as a right wing back. Surely not. Because at the end of the day, that guy scored 20 goals last season. So we need him as high up the pitch as possible, guys, to score the goals, guys. But it is a very interesting one. And you know what? Ruben Amorim's got a decision to make. You have to make in football. Let me tell you about, about decisions in football. You have to make unpopular decisions in football. Whether it makes people happy, it makes them sad, they play at FC, it doesn't matter. You have to make decisions that make a few people upset and angry. That is what winners do. They make controversial decisions for the team, for the shape, for the balance. That's what they do, right? Over the years, especially the last recent years, we've had managers who have been very, very favorable in regards to players that they like. Even when it's not working, they will continue, persist with them. And that is the problem that we have going forward because you can't build a winning mentality when other players around are looking at that player and thinking, well, why am I the one being sacrificed when that player hasn't played well for months? Why am I the one who has to suffer when he hasn't been playing well? You know, that is when you get team morale and team morale starts to disintegrate. And you know what? People start to think if you as a manager that you're not serious and you show favoritism, of course. Absolutely. Danny B, not a bad player, just not good enough as some people think, but you never know it. Just quick, you never know, Tyber, but Tyber, you're absolutely spot on, mate. You're spot on. And obviously, when I think about Sesko, it's exciting because I have been a fan of Sesko for the last 2 years. I have been a fan of him. But when I think about Sesko, I think now, has he progressed like he was when he burst through the scene back then? I don't think he quite has gone on the levels that I thought he would go when he burst on the scene just over a year ago, 2 years ago, of course. So I don't think he's quite gone on that level. But when we look at Benjamin Sesko, okay, and I'm going to bring this into the show, okay? So let's look at Benjamin Sesko and his record, okay? So Sesko, let me have a look at that. So when you think about Benjamin Sesko and you think about his goal-scoring prowesses and things like that in his history, of course, guys, let me just bring this up real quickly. Okay, so let me get his stats up. Okay, so stats, all goals. Right, okay. So basically, you look at someone, a player like Sesko, okay? So let's look at his all-time goal-scoring prowesses, of course. So let me have a look at this. Where is it? If I can find his national team. Let me see. Okay, so basically, Sesko has had 174 appearances, 87 goals, 21 assists. It's not bad. It's not exactly 1 and 2. It's about 1 and 3, almost just above 1 and 2. So it's not too bad, and 21 assists as a centre forward, guys. He scored 8 goals he scored 39 goals in 87 appearances for RB Leipzig, which is basically just under one every two. He scored last season. He scored 20. He scored for Salzburg. He scored 29 goals in 79 appearances. Obviously, the Red Bull clubs. Of course, he scored 29 goals in 79 appearances, which is basically under 1 in 2. Well, it's almost under 1 in 3. Yeah, guys, absolutely. So that is basically what you're looking at the moment. Then we're going after, obviously, FC Liefering, and we're going after Salzburg Youth and obviously Salzburg under 18. Of course, guys. So that is interesting. Like he's basically a 1 in 2 striker, guys. I would say that he hasn't scored any in the Champions League. He's played in the Champions League for a while, hasn't scored any in the Champions League as of yet. So that is a little bit interesting. His national team, he scored for Slovenia. He has scored 16 goals in 41 appearances for Slovenia, which again is under 1 in 2. So he is basically an under 1 in 2 striker, in my opinion, guys. He really is. Dabizas. The first was good pressing when old Les come in the second half. It was dreadful. What I would say, yeah, I agree with that, Dabizas. Man United in the first half was superb. But again, the overriding, glaring, obvious problem at Man United is squad. Once Man United go beyond the second team, we've got nothing. We're down to the bare bones. And this is what I'm very concerned about going forward with Manchester United. This is why Man United need to hit the ground running in this transfer window, which we haven't done, unfortunately. Man United need a squad, not only key players. They don't only need the first team, they need a squad. And at the moment, I don't think Man United have a good enough squad, even if we're playing 1 game a week. I don't think we have a good enough squad, in my humblest of opinion, guys. Absolutely. Sal, do you want Ugarte made part? I want to see what happens with it, Ephraim. But you know what I think and what I want, it doesn't really matter, does it, at the end of the day? Because what's going to happen is what's going to happen. You know, Ruben Amorim's going to play Bruno as number 8, and he's going to play Casemiro or Ugarte in that position. And that is the way it is, unfortunately. And I could bet my house on that happening on the first, barring injuries, on that happening on the first game of the season, you know, against Arsenal, unfortunately. The biggest saving grace for me is the fact that we got Cunha and Mbeumo in front of them, which obviously can take a lot of pressure off the midfield. Of course, with Mbeumo and Cunha, they're very powerful players, very forward-minded players. So I'm looking forward to that. Another thing, which if it happens, if we get a striker in, the good thing about Sesko, he can hold up the ball, and even Ollie Watkins can do the same. If we got a competent striker up there, it will take a lot of pressure off that midfield, and Bruno will be less inclined to go out of position, and you know what, he'll be ill-disciplined in his positions and things like that. And that's what I would say about that, absolutely. Big up Tyborg and big up everyone, of course. What's going on? Oh, Sidcraft. Good to see Sidcraft back in the stream. How you doing, Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much, my friend. Good to see you. Long time no see. Hope you're blessed. Good to see you. Big up people. Big up Coco. How you doing, my friend? Hope everything is good with you, of course. Hope you're doing well. Guys, if there's any problem, by the way, if with my audio, please tell me, please, guys. Very important. Obviously, there was some problems earlier on with I sounded like blah, 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 blah. I sounded like I was underwater and all that. So I would love to see if Cunha score and Guquero score. Oh, Ephraim, if he did that, Ephraim, that would be incredible, wouldn't it? If he done that, my goodness me. If he managed to do that, guys. I mean, if he done that, imagine this. Imagine Sesko plays for Man United. He scores a goal against Arsenal when he does that. Oh, that would be mad, wouldn't it, at the end of the day? Sidcraft. I usually watch your live stream recorded better than white noise for me. Big up, my friend. Why is white noise? Come on. Yeah, don't worry about it. LT, if we want Sesko, then we'll have to sell Sancho and possibly Antony quicker than Newcastle sell Isaac. Because apparently, according to German reports, Sesko prefers us over Newcastle. He does. I mean, who wouldn't want us over Newcastle? Newcastle, let me tell you, LT, right? Let's be realistic here. Newcastle are a fake big club. They're a fake big club. They do not have European football heritage like Man United do. Man United have not been successful in a number of years, of course, but we still reach European finals. Even at our worst, we reach European finals and semi-finals and things like that. So what I would say is that, yeah, he's going to be more interested in Man United, wouldn't you be? I mean, you look at the likes of Cunha and you look at Mbeumo, they're delighted to be at Man United. Why are they delighted to be at Man United? Because it's Man United. Because they got on their CV, I play for Man United. And that is what it is at the end of the day. And that's why I'm happy about that. You know what I mean? I'm happy that, you know what, we've still got our heritage. Just about, we've still got our reputation. But that is fading slowly. But what I would say is that, yeah, if I was Sesko, I would want to move to Manchester United, absolutely. Rumor has it that Isaac actually wants to move to Liverpool. So that could accelerate very, very quickly in regards to that, especially the fact that Isaac has not travelled with Liverpool to their pre-season tour. Not travelled with Newcastle, sorry, to their pre-season tour. Of course. So it is a race and it is a battle. It is a war, as the thumbnail says, guys. Not quite that serious, but it does seem that way in regards to Newcastle, of course, guys. Even with Sesko, we do need to build a team. Midfield is invisible and goalkeeper is sloppy. I agree. Look, at the end of the day, what Man United need, Dabizas, is Man United needed this summer an absolute madness. That's what they needed. This is the time they needed to sprint. This is the time, not walk into the wrong direction and to the right direction. They needed to run and they needed to throw things against the wall and hope it sticks. That's what they needed to do. They needed to just absolutely go crazy. Man United needed to do what Liverpool have done this summer. Absolutely go mad. We're not going to let that happen again to Manchester United. No way we're going to come 15th again. It's never going to happen at Man United again. That is what it should have been at Man United. Absolutely. Guys. Big up Story, of course. Big up yourself. Hope you're doing good again. Good to see you again. Someone take Nana out. Don't do that, man. That's not nice. Of course. Sal, what is the best solution if we do not sign a midfielder? Play what we have. Play what we have. What I would say is that if Man United don't sign a midfielder, which I don't think we will, by the way, if Man United don't sign a midfielder, we're just going to have to do what we have and hoping it works. Fingers crossed. Do you know what I mean? What I would say is that hopefully, the front line of Mbeumo and Cunha and hope another striker, whether it's Sesko, whether it's Ollie Watkins or whatever, does the business for us and improves us significantly. I've said it many times, that it does take a small spark to ignite something. Sesko and Mbeumo and Cunha could help Mainu, the likes of Ugarte, maybe the likes of Bruno as well, can help them significantly. Now, this preseason, it is an opportunity for Ruben Amorim to try different things, i.e. playing the false number 9, maybe playing Bruno as a false number 9, or playing Cunha as the false number 9, playing Bruno as number 10, and playing Mbeumo as the number 10. Maybe they could do something like that. Maybe they could work around something like that. I don't want that sort of thing because I want them in their rightful positions, but that is something that could quite possibly happen, of course. Big up Davids. Big up Randy. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Big up Brian Moran. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well, of course. Absolutely. Big up Tybo. Big up everyone in Germany, of course, guys. I went too far from Tybo recently. Of course, I was in Austria. Sesko has a potential, and we don't need that at this point in time. There you go, Randy. Absolutely. There you go. There's the opinions, of course. No, but I have watched many on TV. Big up Story, my friend, of course. Definitely, Moran, definitely Sesko will have to hit the ground running. If he doesn't, he'll get the grace and he's under pressure straight away. And he's going to get into the same issues as Rasmus Højlund has had over the years, isn't it? It's a similar situation, of course. Similar age as well. Tyberg, I'm sure if Garnacho will play for the likes of Dortmund and Frankfurt and Leverkusen, he would score 20 goals and 15 assists and will be sold PSG 100 million next season. Tyberg, my God, what a comment. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Think about this, guys. Think about this is prime football knowledge. This is what I'm talking about. If Garnacho was playing in the Bundesliga for Bayer Leverkusen, bloody Duisburg, bloody Frankfurt, Bayern Munich, whoever is playing, exactly what Tyborg said, he was scored. I don't know why I brought Duisburg into it, by the way. No offense to Duisburg, okay? But you know what? 20 goals and 15 assists. There you go. He would do. What about Rasmus? If Rasmus was playing in the Bundesliga right now, Rasmus is in the Bundesliga. How many goals would Rasmus score in the Bundesliga? Rasmus has potential. Sesko potential. We've got nothing, but we got enough potential. Big up, Randy. Hope you're well. Story. Bruno is the number 10. We clearly love 10s and hate 9s. Clearly, story. That is clearly at the moment we're not really signing many strikers like we used to. Of course. Ciao, big up yourself. Hope you're doing well. Luis Diaz is sold 75 million euros, but we struggled to sell Sancho. When I say Nante, because Luis Diaz. Let me tell you, Sancho. Let me tell you, sorry. Let me tell you something about Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz is a consistent performer for Liverpool. That is what it is. Luis Diaz doesn't go on Twitter with petulance. That is what it is. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And he's a good player. And when people think about Liverpool now, Chow, whether it's subconscious, whether it's, the illusion of it, but Liverpool are successful right now. And when people think about Luis Diaz or whether they think about the players in that team, they're successful. So what that automatically, subliminally gives you the impression that they're worth that money. when you think about Man United, you think about Sancho, you think about Antony, you think about Malacia, you don't really think, apart from Antony in some extent, he done okay at Betis, okay? He done okay. He was a highlight reel at the end of the day. But what it is, right, when you think about Sancho, Malacia, and Antony, you think about them not on the level of a Luis Diaz, because Luis Diaz has contributed heavily in what Liverpool have been doing this last few years. And that's what I would say in regards to that. Ephraim, so is it a concern if we have injury for the first player that plays injured in the second half has shown us? It is a concern, Ephraim. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I'm not Willy Wonka at the end of the day. But what I would say, it is actually a concern that if Man United have injuries, we have got problems. We have. And this is the concern that I'm having. This is why Manchester United needed to go out there, not only build a first team, they needed to go out there and buy players that can contribute towards the squad. Now, ideally, what Man United should have been doing, if they had the money, they should have got Ollie Watkins and Sesko. That's what should have been going on in this team. Man United should have been signing a midfielder, maybe a Wharton, maybe a Baleba, maybe a Richard Rios, which was affordable. Man United should have been doing that. Maybe they should go and get Javi Guerra, who's not going to be scoring, who's not going to cost too much money. But we won't. And this is the thing. Man United need to build a squad of players. Why do you think Chelsea are buying so many players, Arsenal are buying so many players, Liverpool buying so many players? Because they want to solidify themselves in that Champions League positions. Because they know that Champions League is a gold mine. And that is why Man United should have stopped thinking about PSR and FFP just for 5 minutes and thought, you know what? We need to hit the ground running. We need to get in that Champions League and we need to fight to get some players in. That's what we should have been doing. Because long term, it would have been more beneficial to Ineos. At the end of the day, it would have been more beneficial to them if they invest now. Unfortunately, they want to do things on the cheap, and nothing has ever been achieved on the cheap, especially in football. In history of football, unless you're Sir Alex Ferguson, you can't win anything with kids, which only happens once every 100 years, right? Unless you're one of them people, generally, you do not win anything in football with penny pinching. Coco, yeah, Luis Diaz, here we go, just dropped. Yeah, big up Luis Diaz leaving to go to his dream club, whatever. He's left Liverpool. So that's a blessing for him, isn't it, at the end of the day? Good striker, scored 2 goals in 3 games. Around that, big up Randy. Around that, yeah. Hey, at least with Sesko, we have some good corner. Yeah, good corner conversion, absolutely. We don't score from corners. We can't take corners at the end of the day, guys, can we? We're not very good at taking corners, of course. Brian, big up. Getting Sesko could be a problem if Newcastle get into the race. They have the money. We don't. Hopefully, Isaac is just finishing for big bucks, just fishing for big bucks. Absolutely, Brian. We don't want to get into a financial battle with Newcastle United. The fact that Newcastle United have got involved in this deal could equate to the price being elevated significantly. Because obviously, you're going to offer that. It's an auction at the end of the day, isn't it? You're going to offer that. We're going to offer that. They're going to offer that. We're going to offer that. And I don't want to get into that. Because obviously, even at 60 million, 60, 70 million is way, way too much to pay for Sesko. And I don't want us to be spending 80, 90 million on that. We don't want to go into the realms of Antony again. You know what I mean? In that sort of realms. We don't want to do that anymore. Or we don't want to go into the realms of Rasmus Højlund again. We need to pay the value for money. Big up, Jim, my friend. I think Sal, watching us against West Ham, I think Bruno is not a number 10. He's too slow and disciplined. I know he scored, but he shoots too soon. 80% of the time he could pass, but it's opinion. Jim, can I say something to you, mate? Jim, I agree with you to an extent because I was thinking about the game against Lyon last year. Lyon, see the way I said that? Lyon, Olympique Lyonnais. When we played Lyon last season, there was a ball from Casemiro that fell flat on the head of, guess who? Harry Maguire. And we won the game. We were thinking in that game, and many other outlets, many other content creators have said the same thing as I've said. They said that if Bruno was on that ball, he would have tried a hero shot from 40 yards. Do you know what I mean? And not crossed it to Harry Maguire. Bruno is ill-disciplined, and this is his problem. He scores on goals. You would score goals if you're shooting all the time. You would score goals if you're taking penalties. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is what I would say. But if you take away his penalties, what is his stats? You know? So what I would say is that, no, I'm not trusting Bruno 100% to be our saviour because our last season, he was the captain of the sinking ship. And he does do hero balls. He does shoot from ridiculous angles. Yes, sometimes it goes in. That happens. If I shoot every single game, one time it's going to go in. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Big up, Jim. Respect your opinion, my friend. Hope you're well. Tinsu, what's going on, my friend? How are we doing? Well, I prefer Benjamin Sesko to Watkins because he is young, fast, energetic, and can even score goals from the far post. He has a good quality when he plays with Bruno and Buma and Cunha and Ahmad. There you go, guys. Subjective opinions on the stream, guys. We have opinions, and I love this. What I love about this community, of course, guys. Absolutely. EC, if we only have one more transfer in us, would you prioritize striker or centre midfield or goalkeeper? Striker, mate. Striker. Yeah, we need a striker, I think. Second would be goalkeeper. Lamens is cheap, absolutely, and we can get him easily. I agree. Big up Tinsel too, my friend. Hope you're well. We definitely don't have a good squad, so mate. Injuries could prove under real pressure, mate. And what is our injury record like, Brian? We have one of the worst injury records in Europe, I think. I actually believe that, and it's been like that for a couple of years now. We really do need to look at our medical department, don't we? Because our medical department needs a lot to be desired in regards to players being injured ever since we had the injuries to Martial and, players of that ilk. Of course, Martial came into the football club. Marcus Rashford became a Man United footballer because of Martial's injury and Wilson's injury, of course. We are built on injuries, guys. We have a bloody medical team that is so incompetent. And when I heard the story about Luke Shaw, buying bottles of champagne to give to the physiotherapist just because he turned up late for physiotherapy, it really made me think that, how incompetent is this football club sometimes? How bad is the culture at this football club? And it really hit home to me. If players of the ilk of Luke Shaw are doing things like that, it's ridiculous. Big up, Brian. Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're well, of course. Good to see Mark. What's going on, mate? Patson Daka, who failed at Leicester, had a better scoring record than Sesko for IB Salzburg. There you go, guys. There you go. Also, Donnarumma has 1 year left, and PSG are going to buy Chevalier. So you never know, Dabizas. You never know. I've been shut down in regards to that, but you never know what can happen in football. But Galatasaray in for him at the moment. But I don't think Galatasaray will be the only team for him though. I think there will be other teams in for him. We have to move quickly if we want him. Also, I would like to congratulate all the No to Qatar Brigade for their wonderful transfer window. EC, give them a round of applause. They single-handedly destroyed the football club they love. They can go out there, we want Glazers out. Say, we want Glazers out. We want Glazers out. Say, we want Glazers out. Hit the hop, the hit, the hippity, the hip, the hop, the don't stop, the boogity, boogity, bee. That's what they might as well be singing, guys. Because at the end of the day, you're just a cheerleader for the Glazers. The Glazers don't care about that. They don't care about, we want Glazers out. Say, we want Glazers out. We want Glazers out. Say, we're not an 1980s bloody rap record, for goodness sake. This is what it sounds like. They don't care. Go outside right now. Say, we want Southie. So we want Southie out. I wouldn't give a damn. Let them sing. Let them chant. The only thing that bothers the Glazers is their pockets. Cancelling games. Emptying stadiums. Things like that. That is what it's all about. Going out there and going Glazers and not mentioning Ineos. They don't mention Ineos. They just talk about the Glazers and not Ineos. We want Glazers out. So we want Glazers out. Do something more. Be more aggressive about it because it doesn't work at the end of the day. Absolutely. Tinsel, Tube. Sesko is the long-term plan for Man United, but Watkins is short-term plan. So I need that guy for Man United. What I would say, Tinsel, I would love Man United to get both of them, but I'm sure they won't both be signing for Manchester United, of course, guys. Absolutely not, guys. Absolutely not. Guys, I want to thank everyone who's joined me today. You're absolute legends. Big up, man. You got to laugh sometimes, haven't you? Absolutely. Those facial spaces get me always. Big up, Dan. Big up, my friend. Tyborg. Agree on Newcastle financial power, but if money is the only what matters, then they would sign both Cunha and Mbeumo. Well, fair play. For some players, they are the more important things than money, and this is how we got them. Fantastic point. Absolutely. We're still Manchester United at the end of the day, Tyborg. That is what it's all about, guys. Big up, Tyborg. Big up everyone in the stream, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll be back tomorrow for Breaking Dawn. Please don't forget to put your notifications on in case anything breaks, miraculously, of course. And also, don't forget to smash a like on the video. It really helps. Chatterbox, come on. We need Chatterbox to get more views. And let's push it up to 12,000 subscribers by the end of next week, guys. That's what we need, of course, guys. But thank you so much for joining me. Absolute legends. I'm Sal Warner. This is Chatterbox. And I will see you tomorrow. Take it easy. Peace.